Our Facebook Live coverage from your election authority on this midterm election 2022, joined by Paul Robbins and Paul Maura Healey, our governor. We look at the ballot questions because one of the things we were talking about today that it was the fact that the election and the turnout this year was driven primarily by the 4 ballot questions as opposed to the races that were on the ballot. And
yeah, we had the most boring races, right?
We really did.
We didn't have a barn burner in any of them, unless the legislative races would do that. But yeah, you're right. And there was a lot of money spent on those 4 initiatives. Sometimes there's 5, 6, 7, 8 of them. I think we all got a mailing. We all saw a lot of television. So
a lot of confusion, I think.
That's you win if you confuse people.
Now, with ballot question 4, as far as driver's license for immigrants, right now the yes voters are ahead, and that would keep the law the way it is, where they would get their licenses. So where that stands, but it's still too early. The results are starting to trickle in, 55 to 45. So that's with a small percentage coming in right now. But.
And that can change too, from urban, suburban to rural. You could make a case that folks rural or more conservative don't want to see that kind of privilege given. The practicality of people who work and live and need to employ people in the city. You know, I'm always amazed at when we're doing any kind of research how a lot of people in Springfield don't have a car. Mm-hmm. You know, the transportation is a problem. I mean, it's a big problem everywhere. But so if you're going to hire somebody, even if they're not, you know, a citizen yet, you want them to reliably get to your business. So I think, again, it depends on on what side of the fence you're on.
Your political leanings.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of the things we wanted to talk about was the fact that it does look like, you know, as far as the polling is concerned, that the Republicans are going to take over control of the House. And more than anything, what does that mean for the Massachusetts delegation, particularly Richie Neal and Jim McGovern? Richie is the chairman of the House Ways and Means.
Yep. So let's talk about Richie. I mean, he's one of the most powerful people in Washington. He's still going to be one of the most powerful people in Washington. Because every budget item, so many things, tax policy, everything goes through the House Ways and Means. And I think something that happened before he was chair and after he was chair, he had a good working relationship with the ranking member on the other side. Mm. So with all the craziness, right, with all the division, people parked into different, the House Ways and Means is kind of like the old days. They used to have the chairman and the ranking member actually work things out.
Working together,
yeah. So I think he's still going to be powerful. It does change the power behind the Massachusetts delegation. I think, you know, he's very close with the speaker, and now we know maybe the speaker's not going to be there past 2 years or 4 years. So, you know, other people will suffer more, I think, who are on the Democratic side than Richie Neal. I think that's a very powerful committee.
You know, you and I were talking off air about this, the fact that, you know, in every off-year election that in 2020, the country gave the Democrats a chance. Okay, what can you straighten out? And every 2 years, it seems to flip-flop. It's all right. You didn't get a chance. You didn't do anything. Now we're going to give the other party a chance.
Yeah, we're in this forever cycle of pendulum elections, right? So Obama got elected, and some of the people who voted for Obama voted for Trump. And so that actually makes sense to me because the keys to the country are given to one party. What voters tell us is they want to have people working together in a bipartisan way. It doesn't happen. They get frustrated. They switch the switch. They flip the switch, and they go to the other party. This is almost predictable. And I will tell you, in 2 years from now, I think if the Republicans get Congress, they're going to overreach. They're going to put Anthony Fauci in front of a committee. They're going to Hunter Biden. They're going to try to impeach the president, Joe Biden. And I think in 2 years, I think it tilts back. That pendulum goes the other way.
You know, I was looking at some figures from yesterday, going back to, I think, to the second George Bush presidency, and the fact that in every off year, the party did lose, and in some cases by a pretty big majority, you know, losing 45 to 50 seats in the House and in general. So the power flipping, and, you know, and as we were saying, again, you know, what do we have, 2 more years of gridlock? Or is somewhere along the way something going to click on Capitol Hill that, you know what, we need to work together for the country and not the party.
Well, the irony is, whatever your persuasion, Biden and the Democratic Congress got a lot done. They had the CHIPS Act, where they're going to build the computer chips in Ohio. The infrastructure bill passed. Trump talked about it for 4 years. I build things. We're going to have an infrastructure bill. Nothing happened. They did these investments. You can argue whether that Build Back Better, legislation is what it says it was in terms of inflation reduction, but they did put investments into non-carbon sources of energy. So they did a lot. But people are unhappy. It's what did Bill Clinton's people say? It's the economy's stupid.
Yeah. And what it came down to with this, again, I said, when you look at the polling numbers and everything, it's all about the economy and how people are doing, even though it seems like we are doing a little bit better right now.
Remember, George Bush, the one you just referenced, had defeated Saddam Hussein. His numbers were about 90% after that. He lost to Bill Clinton because the economy was less than 2% annual growth, the GDP.
And no new taxes.
And he taxed people, right?
That's it.
But at the end of the day, it was, the economy wasn't good. And we all remember the famous, what's the scanner thing at the grocery line?
Yep.
Where they were starting to do scanners for, telling the price of something, didn't know what it was. It comes down to that almost every time. If the economy was good right now, Democrats would have a shot, but there's not enough bipartisan activity, and people get frustrated and they vote for the other side.
All right. Paul, thank you. And Paul and I will be back in about a half an hour. Hopefully we'll have more results coming in as the votes have been being counted for the last hour and a half, and we'll keep you posted. And you can always go online, westernmassnews.com, or with the Western Mass News app. See you in a little bit.